This week we have a special guest, ABHIE. He's here joining us.
So why did you actually want to do it?
My most simple answer is like I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
That's like really great to hear, honestly, because I feel like these days, like especially with med, Indian parents just force their kids into the med field.
He actually won most competitive in our year.
The only W guy.
Oh! Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Famous Chili Podcast. This week we have a special guest, ABHIE. He's here joining us from Monroe. But you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. First of all, thank you guys for having me on. The famous Shays one. Peppercorn Fest. And there's we have like 15 different names for you guys. So I'm not gonna rattle them out. But yeah. So my name is ABHIE, like Nish said. I went to Rutgers University for 4 years, just graduated. Now I'm heading to med school at Rowan University. And pretty much I know Prem because we're like old neighbors from like way back. I love playing tennis, hiking, basketball. Those are my hobbies. And then, I just study medicine as my primary career. So, yeah.
Very cool, very cool. It's very nice to meet you, and I'm so glad we can have you on the podcast today. Prem's been talking about you for a long time.
He's been hyping you
Thanks,
up.
bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You're also one of the only people we know who actually says Prem as his actual name.
Prem.
No, it's Prem.
But yeah, dude. So obviously, I've been in a couple of your YouTube videos, but like, kind of tell us a little bit about it, how you started, because I know like you and like some of your family friends, like Parin and Shrish, right? Like you guys started. What was the name of the first? Like,
I believe it was like What's Life or something
What's
like
Life
that.
that was like really cool. You guys like documented your cruises and stuff, which I thought was really cool. So like, how'd you kind of get into editing and all that type of stuff? And like, what do you see your YouTube channel going into the future?
Yeah, so first off, we started off like doing just vacation videos, and it was just filming our trips and just editing them. We started doing that because we literally just got like a GoPro. It was like the most basic GoPro ever, like probably the Hero 3, I think. So it was like when it first came out, we were all like super hyped, and we just started filming a bunch of stuff using GoPro Studios to edit our videos. And we said like, hey, this is actually pretty fun, so let's just keep doing it. And eventually we saved up. We did like this GoFundMe, and we bought like a DSLR, and then we just actually started recording and stuff like that. And a little bit after that though, like we got older and things happened, people move out, we went to different colleges, so that kind of like died down. But then I was like, I still like enjoy making videos, so I still wanted to continue doing it. And so I just started up my own channel, started filming trips again. And now I honestly don't even know what my channel is about. I just film random stuff at this point. Like literally last video was like a hydro dipping video with shoes that I just found in the archives, and I was like, I'll just edit it. But just random stuff as of now. And hopefully for the next 4 years, I think I'm going to be focusing more on like medicine related content. So
Cool.
I love that, man. Like I'm in a similar place with you with YouTube and stuff, man. Like I've been making YouTube videos my whole life. Like I made my first channel when I was 6.
Oh, nice.
And I was just sitting there, like my dad would film me. I would play with like Pokemon or like Legos, and like then I started moving on to like stop motion Lego movies. And then I took like a long gap, and then in 6th grade I came back, did some gaming videos, did like in-person challenges and stuff. And then I had a long gap of not really doing anything until this. Yeah. And so I was talking to one of our friends the other day about it. How important do you think it is to have that kind of creative outlet when you consider yourself a creative person? Because I personally found that in the few years that I wasn't really doing anything, it's a lot harder to go through other things in life when you don't have that kind of creative outlet. So do you have a similar experience with that?
Definitely. Like it's like something you do when you're not grinding for like your career or something. It's like a great escape. And like just tuning to different parts of your brain with creativity. It's like I'm just not a person who just likes to study. Like I also like doing other stuff outside of that too. Yeah. So like channeling that creativity I think is very important because it just helps me like stay sane sometimes during like crazy times. Yeah.
How do you fit in all the editing and like videoing into your like busy schedule? Because I'm sure as a med school student you have an abundance of studying to do, an abundance of tests, and just in general you have a lot to work towards because obviously you're in med school. So like exactly how do you fit that into your schedule?
Yeah, definitely it gets tough. Like I'm gonna be like super honest. Like I've just been recently consistent with uploading videos. I had like probably like a year gap between like these recent uploads only because I was taking the MCAT at that time. So it's literally about like prioritizing. So as of now, I literally don't have anything to do. So that's why I'm like pushing out like a lot of videos. But when I'm like grinding for like exams, boards, stuff like that, I'll probably like posting a lot less frequently. But at least trying to make an effort to put stuff out there, so like that I don't feel like burnt out.
Right,
Basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
That is very sick.
Mhm.
Honestly, I looked over like a lot of your content this morning actually, and like a lot of it was like, what's what?
So much prep, so much.
The test in the morning, you gotta grind it,
Yeah.
get that extra.
My mom made me wake up at 7 a.m. just to do my
Film
background
study.
research.
Yeah.
Film study.
Quick flashcards, Yeah.
So, a lot of what you did was like a lot of your content was like vacation based. So, are you looking into branch out of your YouTube and like move into like photography and or like actual video editing, or do you just like want to do this just for like to like pass the time, or just so you don't get burnt out? Like, do you see this going anywhere further?
That's a great question. So as of now, I'm just riding the wave. So at this point, it just feels like something I do for fun. But if it does end up turning like into something bigger or better, I'm down for that. It would be cool. But yeah, like I said, like it's just something that I can't put too much time into. But if it becomes something, I would definitely like try to like put more effort into it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know I saw like in one of your videos you have like a really nice like video camera as well, and like on TikTok I'll like look and I'll find all these different like cool like fast edits of like nice scenery, and I know that like a lot of your older content was like vacation based, so
Right.
it gives you a lot of space to like make that type of content, because like a lot of that content on like TikTok especially I find really cool, because I like watching those cuts, and like if you were to get into that, I would definitely watch you for sure.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You
to
already got
hear.
a fan, bro.
Yeah, I got a
already
fan
got
right
a
here.
B-reels are actually really cool, like
Yeah.
on the edits.
Yeah. The only thing I would say with that is like people don't realize how much time it takes to edit those.
So
It's
much.
like unless you
So
actually get
much.
into it, oh my god, it's such a pain, because like I do like color grading. There's like obviously just cutting down the footage because there's so much, and then just like trying to like formulate a story with what footage you have. So I never realized, like at first, like when I watch like shows and stuff like that, I was like, oh, it shouldn't be too hard. But then when you actually get like behind the process, then you realize like how much time you have to actually put in.
I feel like
Editing
that's
takes
how it is
forever.
with like
Exactly.
everything when it comes to creation. Like people will look at anything and think like, oh yeah, I can do that. It's so easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you start and you're like, oh.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Even just like starting a podcast, like we look at all these podcasts, like oh, like just making conversation, any of that stuff is super easy. But then when you actually like think about it, it takes a lot, and has to be very meticulous.
Yeah.
We're all pulling like
There's-
4 or 5 hours a week on it. Yeah.
Right. And
Maybe
then
even more, yeah.
oh my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
but-
good. You're good.
But like, if you look like at a podcast like Impulsive, you realize like they have a film crew, they have like
Editor,
editor crew,
Exactly,
and then
exactly.
it just feels like when you like put out some content, it's like edited by me, filmed by me,
Yeah.
and then it just gets like it's like crazy. You just got to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I
It
think-
would be nice to have an editing crew. I'm not even gonna lie.
That would save all of our time.
You got
bro.
the money, man.
You got the money.
Get your hedge fund to sponsor us, dude.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, the thing I was saying was, I think that's a big thing with a lot of like young kids. Like whenever kids are like, oh, I want to be a YouTube creator, whatever. I mean, you always only see the glamorous part of like that lifestyle,
Yeah.
and that's why so many YouTube creators get like burnt out, because it's just the recording and doing whatever might be fun, but that's only like a fraction of your time. Like we'll spend double the amount of time editing throughout the week as we do like recording the podcast.
Yeah.
Easily.
This is like the quickest part.
This is
of
the
work.
quickest part
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
The amount of time it takes to film one podcast goes into like each edit.
2 hours to
like-
record and set up and record and take down, and then like
Imagine.
another 4 hours throughout the
5
week.
hours
Yeah,
to
so like,
edit
just
the
edit
actual
for
video,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is the unfortunate side, but I think that's why a lot of like kids are like, oh, I wanna, that's like the number one job that kids.
Yeah.
Recent
I don't
polls.
blame them.
It's
It's a good life. It is hard work when you actually
Yeah.
get to a top level, and you can't get there without putting in that kind of work. But it's a good life to have. At least you get to do what you love.
what you love. Yeah.
But they just don't see the actual hard stuff behind it.
Exactly.
But also, like, I feel like everyone has to get to this point before they end up getting an editing crew. Like Logan
course,
Paul,
yeah.
the first
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 years, he was definitely doing a Mr. Beast same thing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
So
for
like
sure.
right now we look at them at the top, but they obviously had to go through the same thing. They definitely put in their 10, 12, 14-hour days, and like really like, because like let's be honest, right? Like no one really likes to like edit that much, or like.
I love editing.
You like
Editing's
editing?
fun.
Yeah.
But like I feel like cutting down footage like every day, like if you're a daily vlogger, or if you're like a daily person, like at a certain point it gets like monotonous. And
Cutting
very,
cutting
like,
footage
come
is
on,
the
like,
worst part of editing, in my
you know?
opinion. Cutting footage is the worst. Making the edits, making it look fun and cool,
That's-
that's probably the most fun
That's-
part.
yeah.
But yeah, you're definitely right about that. I mean, Mr. Beast is still pulling 20-hour days, dude.
Yeah,
This
it's
guy-
still-
man
it's like a
wakes,
billion
man
channels.
sleeps 4 hours, wakes up, does YouTube, goes to sleep
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
YouTube. It's
Especially,
crazy.
I don't think you can be a good creator if you've never edited. Because you have to
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
edit side of it. Even if you don't edit anymore, that's completely fine.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
at
yeah.
some point you had to have edited your own videos
For sure.
to actually know how to create the story because you actually made it from the content, not just
Yeah.
recording it.
Yeah,
That's a
You know?
fair point.
But yeah, like props to you guys. You've been like putting out like on every platform, so like that's crazy.
Thank you.
And we also
Good
have
on
4
you.
people. It makes
Yeah,
it a lot
that
easier.
is
to
true,
help
that is
people.
talking about this, yeah.
4
Yeah.
people, 4 people, like, we're able to, like, cut up the work so that
Yeah.
everyone is doing the same amount of work every
Yeah.
week. Because if the podcast was, like, 2 people, I'd say, I think we would have ended maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But like also like this is a great time to like kind of shout out Ari. At
Yeah,
least
I was
in the
just about to
beginning.
say, Ari.
Like in the beginning, like at least the first 2 weeks, we had like no structure, right? Like
Yeah.
we were all like in school, like super busy with finals, and Ari kind of like not only edited the actual podcast, but he also edited the like all the TikToks.
Oh wow.
Made the schedule,
Yeah,
edited
that's-
TikToks. Was basically like a full time for all we would do is show up for the actual film, and they were like, dude, like you cannot do this.
This
Like,
guy was the backbone of our
Yeah.
podcast.
That was
He's
just for the
literally-
first week. That was just
Yeah,
like
that was the first
couple
week,
weeks,
but-
and then we
yeah.
split it up even.
Yeah, but even now, like you still carry a lot of the
yeah, you still carry a lot of
TikTok
it. And
editing
also,
and
like,
making these.
you have the most like
also lists.
experience out of all of us, so I
Yeah.
feel like we like it's like natural for us to like fall back on the person who has the most experience, right? But like it's like we're like pretty lucky that like Ari's there, so
Hey.
Shout out.
Shout
Shout out.
Dude, my YouTube experience consists of making music
I see
leads
a
and then
little
uploading
tear.
them to TikTok.
Dude, oh my god.
I
I'll tell
remember
you,
basically.
I was quite the creator back in the day, bro.
Yeah.
My Beyblade battles in
Oh.
3rd grade.
Funny you mentioned that. You know what my first YouTube channel was called?
What?
Beyblade Rocks
Rocks.
44 with 2 Ks. That's why I couldn't find it all these years. I could
There's
only
2
find it.
Ks?
I could only find it if I logged in myself. I could never find it searching it.
Wow.
Why? Was it because it was 2Ks?
Yeah, I didn't know how to spell it, and because it's such a random name, it doesn't show up. But if you
Yeah.
spell it correctly, it's the only thing.
Why
that
don't
comes
you
up.
give Ubby a background on the infamous Tubbs channel right here?
Oh,
Because
my
this is a
my
pretty
God.
famous YouTube
do you
channel
wanna-
around
do you
the
wanna-
time of the Chili
It's like in
podcast.
the archives.
Do you want to see
Oh,
the
yeah.
original channel? I
I'm
can pull
down.
up a video
I'm
real
down.
quick.
Dude, this is like
We all gotta start from somewhere.
We all gotta
Yeah.
start from
What's-
somewhere, man.
While he's pulling it up, we're gonna play like a TikTok clip, and it's just gonna be the
Exactly.
his YouTube video in the bottom half.
So basically, let me give you a little backstory. This right here, his alter ego is Lil Tubbs, right? Lil Tubby, Lil Tubbs, whatever you want to call him. He is the YouTube. He is the content creator. I don't know what to call him.
Rapper.
Yeah, he's rapper. He does everything, man. He's put out music. He has his own merch.
he hasn't put out
He
music.
has a
I
baby
write,
time.
I write, but I never put anything
Right.
out.
Nice.
But anyways,
When's the EP?
Hey, you put it
coming?
in my heart, man.
Oh,
You
man.
put it out into my heart.
The EP's been in process for like 5 years now. That's actually kind of what I was thinking about when I talked to you about the creative process. Because like
Yeah.
after I stopped, so I made that second YouTube channel in 6th grade.
Mhm.
And then in 7th grade is when I started writing music. And so I had that for like many years throughout high school. Whenever I was kind of like, just had anything in my mind, I would just kind of write, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Then once like towards end of senior year and going into first year of college, I just kind of stopped writing.
Oh.
So that point, I just had zero creative outlet until this podcast came out.
Gotcha.
And so that's just like, yeah, it was a big change, you know. But yeah, this was like my first channel. Sitting here, look at that second video, 727 views. I'm
Oh
just
wow,
like,
Ninjago Final
Yes,
Dude, I
sir,
used to
yes,
watch
sir.
that show.
Yo,
It was
Ninjago
fire
was
show.
Ninjago's a goated
Yeah,
show.
goated show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
great show.
All right, so now kind of turning to the medical field, right? You said you're in med school.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for like, you know, the typical Indian like immigrants, like, oh, like, gotta go to doctor, Like they force a lot of their kids to do that. So why did you actually want to do it? You know, like, yeah, just take us through that process. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, sure. So like my most simple answer is like I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. Like I've like explored like a lot of career, you know, past like venues through like you remember our robotics team, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day. So
National Delaware.
yeah, exactly. So like we had like a community-based robotics team, and at that time I was interested in doing automotive engineering, and I started getting into that, and then I later realized in high school like that this is actually something I don't want to do for like my entire life. I wasn't like that interested in it, and eventually I just started exploring different career paths. I took this like there's this mini med class. It was like a simulation of a med school, and I used to go to that like at night. At I think it was NJMS, right, New Jersey Med School, and I was like, it was like the best thing I've ever done. Like it was so interesting. We like pulled up cases, X-rays of like the brain, and then there was just like scans of the brain, and there was just professors just talking about the different diseases that could occur in the human body, and just I was just so fascinated. I was like, maybe this is something I'm interested in, and I would love to continue to do this for like my entire life. And then so then I was like, that was like the nail in the head, and I was like, yep, I definitely want to do medicine. I became a licensed EMT, so I started doing EMT work, and I started shadowing doctors. I was in the OR for a heart surgeon, and it was just like completely, I would like get lost in it for hours. It was so interesting. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm definitely sure this is something I want to do.
See, that's like really great to hear, honestly, because I feel like these days, like especially with med, Indian parents just force their kids into the med field, and then you see once they actually come to go into med school, they all drop out and they all switch to business. All of my brother's friends.
The greatest career path change of all time.
All of them.
Med to business.
So many of my brother's friends all were thinking, okay, in high school, oh yeah, I'm gonna go med. They started pre-med and then changed to business because they just don't want to do it. Because I've always said this. I think med is the one field you can't be forced into. It is too much work, too much school,
studying,
too much studying to go into and spend your whole life doing that, delaying your pay, delaying your job, and delaying everything, to not love the field, which is why I have so much respect for people who actually go into med, because they really want to. You can't fake liking med. And I think that's a big problem right now.
Dude, I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this, but like the past semester honestly has been the brute of it. But I've low key been considering switching into med so strongly because I've always like. Because, okay, at first I thought I wanted to go into political science, like, early high school times, and I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah, I remember that.
People just don't want to listen, they just want to talk in political science, and, like, in all of that, and law and all that, so I kind of, like, dropped that idea. But I've always enjoyed med, and I've always thought I'd be, like, good in medicine. Dude, anatomy was one of my favorite classes ever, senior year of high school, and it wasn't even because, like, I had a ton of people in my class. There were only, like, a couple people that I was close friends with. I just enjoyed learning what we learned in anatomy, and it was stuff that, like, I picked up pretty easily, and, like, I know medical dramas are not even close, but the medical drama part was not the part that I found the most interesting. It was like the doctors in the show analyzing different diseases or analyzing a situation. And again, even those parts are not at all realistic.
We're studying Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, like good doctor was so good doctor, and then like there was another one that came out.
Dr. House?
No, it was.
Oh, New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed medicine, and my dad's always been like, and it's never to push me to medicine, because he always wanted me to go to comp sci, but he's always like, oh, you'd be so good at medicine, why didn't you go medicine? But never to like push me in that direction, because he also wanted me to go comp sci first. But I don't know. I've always just kind of, in the past like semester especially, consider being like, hey, what if I just switch into medicine real quick?
Another Dr.
Like,
Patel in this one.
Oh my god, you don't need more.
No, honestly, like I commend you for being in med, because like for like the amount of like med school shortages that there are all like students and doctors in general, like we need more doctors coming into this world, because every single year we face some new disease which we're not able to like counteract or solve easily, and at the same time, when we're trying to cure people who have those diseases, we have a large shortages of doctors. And one of my cousins who's a doctor spoke about this, and that's why she's like she has this Facebook group with over like 200,000 MDs and, and the clinical professionals. And like the whole thing is trying to advocate for better lives for doctors, to make the field more likable, so that there's more doctors that come into the field. And that's like a lot of the work that she does, because she's now a retired radiologist turned political / public speaker, and like that's like the basis of what she does now. So for real, I commend you for being in the med field, because
for sure.
I could never, to be honest.
I actually wanted to tackle that point, right? Because like I feel like what you were talking about, how like doctors are like there's a shortage of doctors because of the fact that like people don't want to go into that field, or they can't counteract a certain disease. I feel like one issue with the shortage of doctors is the fact that like they don't believe in the healthcare system that we've built in this country, and that's a whole other issue. That's more of like a policy thing. But I feel like that's one reason why because a lot of people are looking at you're paying all this insurance, yet you're still getting billed $60,000 for like a surgery. You're getting billed like $1,000 for something that's really like $200, right? Like the amount that hospitals, insurance companies are like taking advantage of patients. A lot of people don't want to go into it because they don't want to feed into that revolving negative feedback loop, right? So like, what do you think about that?
So I'll tell you this. So I feel like doctors get like they spend so much time in like training and stuff like that to like even start like I don't even know how some doctors are able to like talk about like issues like this and try to like advocate, you know, things like that. But it's like we're so swamped with like too much things to memorize and get training, and that like I feel like by the end of it we just want to practice and like start treating patients. And then that the problem is that like these like insurance companies, you know, politicians kind of take advantage of this fact and say like, oh, we're gonna push policies, and we're not going to get really much pushback because first of all there aren't that many doctors out there, and also they're probably so tired after at the end of this they just want to treat patients and not get involved with any of this, you know, outside stuff. So like at that point I feel like that's where insurance companies are like, oh yeah, this is they make this like system where we kind of like have to like buy into because there's like no pushback on it. And additionally politicians have to, you know, they push their policies with like, for example, like COVID or something like that. So I feel like I feel like doctors should try and like get into social media a little more and like try to push, you know, what their opinions are, and try to like about policies and things like that, so the public are more informed about them. And like also like just getting their opinions a little bit more from doctors, because you know these insurance companies, the politicians they're going to have certain agendas that they want to fulfill. So it's tough to like just go on the basis of them. So
I do agree with that. I think there has been, like you mentioned, there's been a trend, like especially during COVID, of more people in med going into social media. Like you see a lot more doctors.
Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike. They all show up and they start giving their little facts. They disprove things on TikTok and stuff.
Like,
dude, Dr. Mike came to our school. You know that?
Oh, really?
During COVID, we had a
wow.
Zoom meeting with him because SNHS sponsored like it was just like not a meet and greet, but he gave some little talk about something. It was online, but we were on Zoom call with.
Dr. Mike came to our school.
Yeah, online, virtually.
You guys go to the same school?
Yeah.
Oh,
we all went to
awesome.
the same high school. Yeah.
Oh, high school. My bad.
No, but he came to our high school in Zoom form because he hopped on a Zoom call with all of us. He gave a speech. I forget what it was about now. It's been like 2 years, but he gave a speech about something. Man, it's been too long, man. I was too worried about like some math test that day. But yeah, it was cool. Like we had a Q&A session with him. We got to talk to him for a little bit. It was interesting. Yeah.
I have to ask you, what are you gonna be specializing in once you finish med school? And have you already started rotations yet, or no?
No, like this is I haven't even started med school yet. To be fair,
so it's gonna be your first year.
Yeah, my first year. Okay, but for in terms of like specializing, as of now I'm thinking gastroenterology. So that's just like, you know, colon, intestines, basically stomach, you know, gallbladder.
Is there a reason that you want to specialize in that, or just?
So actually, I actually had like a few problems with my like own GI tract like a while back, and I actually had to consult a GI doctor, and like the way he like walked me through the process, I was just like amazed, and I was like, that's like someone I want to become. He was like my role model after that, and like the patience, the like compassion, and he was just like there with every step of the way. And I was like, you know what, that's someone I would, you know, want to be one day, and I would like to help other people like struggling.
Do you like still keep in touch with him?
Oh yeah, of course,
really? Really?
So like I would like he wants me, like he wants to know like which other doctor that I've been to, how's my treatment regimen going and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, keep up with him still. He's super
I love
chill.
that, man. I love that, like when people actually have doctors like this, because I feel like so many people I talk to, they don't really like have a relationship with their doctor, like they don't really know them in general. Like it's so cool when doctors make that effort and actually like be that compassionate on like a human level. Not just like, oh, you're my patient, you're my business, you know.
But I feel like one thing which I kind of want to touch back on, but this is a great like kind of segue to it, is like how do you guys like, obviously you haven't been in med school yet, but like how is that like ethical dilemma, right? Because I know so many doctors, okay, granted it's in India, but also like here, where they like to benefit their own practice, private practice, or benefit like the bottom line of that their own like their selves, they prescribe medicine that doesn't need to be prescribed. I know you had some problems with that too. So like how is that like first of all, do you guys get trained on that, educated on that? Number two, like maybe that's the reason why people don't have like a relationship with their doctors, right? So.
That's fair. So I honestly don't know about like are you talking about like over prescribing sometimes, or like just prescribing just to like
both, like over prescribing but also like prescribing something just to prescribe it.
Gotcha. So I don't know if they train that in med school because I haven't really started yet, but I can tell that sometimes it can get a little like shady with that, because I remember before I went to what is it called? My GI, I actually consulted a doctor at CHOP, so like Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Whoops. I guess.
Very good. We're good, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
So I went to CHOP, and then the doctor there was saying like, you need to actually go on this shot called Remicade for like your condition, right? And like looking through forums and talking to my primary like GI, like my main GI, he's saying like that's not really necessary. But like the thing was like if I had gone on to Remicade, it would have been like more profitable. Like it was it's definitely more expensive for my health insurance.
Right.
So and then I would have to drive down to their hospital every week and get a shot. But I was like, I'm not trying to do that. Like there must be like an easier way out.
Yeah.
So my GI told me straight, was like, yeah, you don't need to do that. You're fine. You can just take this and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes, yeah, it can get a little shady with that. Like if a doctor can see that a certain treatment could be a little more profitable, it could be a little shady. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I probably have to like read more about this and like see if like doctors are like if this is like a legitimate problem, because I know sometimes doctors feel pressure to prescribe like painkillers and like some patients take advantage of that and saying, oh, I need more, I can't deal with the pain, but it's like really they're using it to numb the pain that they are experiencing, so and then they get addicted to it. That's a bigger problem. So yeah,
it's like both ways, right? Patient and
right. So that I feel like that depends on the relationship you build with your doctor. Like if you can trust your doctor to like prescribe the right medications and find like a good doctor, and also the doctor also has to have some trust in their patient, knowing that they wouldn't like overdose or try to like take too much medication. So two-way street. Yeah.
Kind of going back to the doctor shortage we were talking about earlier. So obviously, like, there's less and less people becoming doctors. There was a huge growth in it over the years, but last year we saw a bit of a downtrend on it. And one of the states that made a change towards like resolving this was Tennessee. I don't know if you saw, Tennessee recently passed a bill that made it so that you no longer have to do your residency in the U.S. to become a doctor to practice in Tennessee. And there's obviously good and bad sides to it, but what do you kind of think about that? Do you think that's an overall good change that they made? Do you think that's helpful, or how do you feel about that?
So honestly, like I would have to look more into that, but as of now, I would think that it's a step in a direction. So I mean, it's something is better than nothing in my opinion. And the thing is, like with this, you won't really see effects until like later on. I feel like with a lot of these stuff is like it sounds so good initially, but then like years down the lane, it has some kind of unprecedented effect you could have never predicted. So as of now, I would see that that's not bad, but like maybe things, I don't know, they would have to check with accreditation, like is the same credentials being analyzed in that country versus the country they're being moved in, which is the US. So are they on the same level of training? Because I know here it's like intense. There's a lot of hoops you have to make sure that you fulfill and jump through, and requirements that you have to satisfy. So I know that it wouldn't be beneficial if they just take any doctor, respectfully saying, because of the different standards that they have, and what do you call it, rules that they have to fulfill.
That was my exact reaction when I first heard of this. I didn't really see it as like that amazing of a change in my opinion, just because like my first worry is that other countries don't have the same standards, like you said. And my immediate thought was India, just because those are the stories I've heard. Of my parents telling me about how the doctors are there and how they're trained. And so I personally don't know how I feel about that, because like other countries, they don't have the same level of standards as in America. And I feel like, yes, we have a doctor shortage, but I don't know if the best idea is just to make it so that people from other countries who don't have the same standards as us come in and then offer less, like, not up to standard healthcare to their patients.
And this is honestly, I'm just gonna put it as, I'm not trying to like bash other doctors or like downgrade them. It's just like it's just different, like just different qualifications. So like Yeah, and also like I think this is also trying to like step up from COVID because like we've lost so many doctors since COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of doctors retired. They're saying, yeah, we can't do this because it was such a strain on them. Not even just doctors, like even other healthcare professionals, like nurses too,
Yeah.
which is why we have a nurse. Like I feel like every year there's always a nurse shortage.
Yeah.
Like they always say like we're short on nurses, and just other healthcare professionals.
Yeah, the nurse shortage is even like a bigger problem in
Yeah.
the medical community than
Yeah.
the doctor shortage because
Yeah.
you lose the ability. Like doctors just can't be there to handle all like the smaller
Exactly. Yeah.
one off tasks, but nurses are generally there to help doctors and like assist doctors. But
Yeah.
like there's such a big shortage in nurses. Doctors obviously
And
we
they're
have a
getting
shortage.
paid a shit ton
Yeah,
too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's
I
just
feel like
a
nurses
huge
always
difference.
go like under the radar. Like they're
Yeah,
not
for
really
sure.
appreciated the same level as
Yeah.
doctors,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though they have to go through so much training as well.
Exactly,
They go through
yeah.
so much school, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they still are the ones taking care of you. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think like me, like all four of us the other day were talking about like kind of like recruiting with our respective fields. So like none of us are going into med, so kind of like take us through like, okay, like you do 4 years of undergrad, you do 4 years of med school.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's after that? I know like your specialty is your specialty, but I feel like everyone has to still go through like a standard. I think it's like a 10-year process in total or something.
Yeah,
so, like,
pretty much.
how do
yeah.
you do that? And then how's the application process? How's all that?
The
Like,
med app? Yeah.
Med app,
yeah.
yeah.
Tell us about the Med app, man.
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, 4 years of undergrad. So actually, it's actually not like there are actually like new routes that have opened recently to like speed up the process for people becoming doctors. So there's something called like BSMD or BSDO programs.
yeah.
So right from high school, you can do a combined degree so that it takes less time to become a doctor. I believe they're like 7-year programs, so you just complete that in 7 years instead of 8. And there's also that's a route. Or if you do the traditional route, which is like 4 years of undergrad and then you apply to med school and then you get into med school, 4 years of med school, and then you would do residency, which is what you're interested in, like starting to specialize in. And if you want to do a further specialization, it's called like fellowship. So like my thing would be, let's just take my example. I would do residency in internal medicine, and then I would specialize in specifically GI.
Okay, and then
So-
where do like rotations come into play?
Rotations is, I believe, 3rd year and 4th year of med school. So that's when I start to like kind of like go through like the different what do you call it, specialties. So it'd be like there's surgery rotation, there's OBGYN, so like a bunch of these different roles that I have to like go through. But yeah, and then like I don't know what else they're trying to do, but like there's I feel like they should have more avenues for like shorter what do you call it, education spans for these doctors, because it just takes too long. Like 10 years is crazy.
Yeah.
And like when there's a physician shortage and you're like pumping out doctors 10 years later, like it's just it doesn't help. Like I feel like the numbers are just going to keep going down.
Is that ever? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You got it.
Is that ever discouraging to you, like knowing that like you are kind of like in the middle of it now? You finished your undergrad, so now you're going to the med school part of it. But is it ever discouraging to you now or in the past, where you just see ahead so many years of more school and think like, ever considered switching, or did you ever have something like that?
I'm gonna be honest, like of course so many times I was like, yeah, maybe this is not for me. There's something huge that goes on in like med school specifically, is like imposter syndrome. It's like when you start doing this stuff and it starts to get like difficult and you're still going through a process, but then you're like, am I really this guy, or am I really up to the standards?
Am I him?
Yeah, am I him? Am I really him? So like, yeah, I actually had like so much of that, like when I was taking my MCAT and stuff like that. I felt like, maybe this is not a career for me because I feel like I can't step up to it. But then the only way to like, offset that would be like, creative outlets, starting to like, but like, go out, play basketball, play tennis, clear your mind a bit, and then try to reset yourself so that you kind of realize who you are. And then you're like, okay, I think I can do this. And so, yeah, it is discouraging sometimes, but like keeping the end goal in mind, like one day I can help people, save people. That's definitely like a motivator. Yeah.
I feel like one thing is like you were saying like discouraging, but like you were talking about the MCAT. Like,
Yeah.
I was always like when I was younger, I was like, oh, SAT, MCAT, same thing, just
LSAT.
SAT,
Yeah,
LSAT. SAT is for high school, and then MCAT's like for undergrad to go into med school. So like,
That's how you know you're Indian. You just assume that everyone in college has to take the MCAT.
yeah, no, I literally thought that. So like, tell us for real, like, how hard is it how hard is the MCAT compared to the SAT? Like, what like if there was a Venn diagram right now, like an MCAT and the SAT, like what would you put as the differences and similarities?
Gotcha. So, I'm not trying to sound cocky here or anything, all right?
Yeah.
But the SAT compared to MCAT was like a breeze. Like,
Okay.
SAT was like pretty straightforward. Like, especially I'm like naturally good at math, obviously because I'm Indian. So like,
It's in the
Born
blood.
in-
it's in the
born in the
blood.
blood.
Yeah.
The Kumon,
So,
the Kumon.
so the math section was not too bad because like I just built in. My mom's also like a math supervisor, so she's like, it was like ingrained in me, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I struggled with the English section, like any other.
Yep.
Yeah. Terrible. I hate it so much. Reading comprehension. So so obviously I just had to like focus on that part, but like eventually I was like, okay, I can like after like practice and stuff, I could like get my score up, right? So it wasn't too bad. But oh yeah, the MCAT is like a different breed. It's like it hits different. Like there's like 4 sections, right? And it entails like all the subjects you learn in undergrad. So that's like biology, biochem, orgo, so organic chemistry, which is just general chemistry, psychology, sociology, and basically you're just slapped with like all these subjects at once. And one thing I like told people that that surprised them was like it's actually all entirely reading comprehension. So
Really?
it's like they give you like scientific articles basically with like data and stuff like that. So you actually have to read through, and it's not like straightforward questions like what is the chemical element this. It's like you read through it and then you have to infer certain stuff, and then based on that information then you have to answer. So like there are a few straightforward questions, but like it's like reading comprehension on crack mixed with science too.
Because
so.
that's what's gonna have to do in the real job.
Exactly.
Anyways. Like it won't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just preparing you for what is gonna come in the future. So if
Exactly.
you're able to do it on a test, you're gonna be able to blossom.
Yeah.
I have a question though. Is it very much like for the SAT? A lot of people say it doesn't actually matter how smart you are. It matters if you learn how to take that test. So it's like you need to understand how to take the SAT. If you're good at like figuring out strategies on taking specifically the SAT and learning how to take the test, then you'll do well on the SAT. Is it like that for the MCAT where it's like if you learn how to approach these problems on the MCAT, or if you just do a ton of practice problems, understand the test fully, is that going to help you on the MCAT, or is it
It's a good question.
kind of more of like a
That's a good question. So it's like that. You got to understand the test because it's like the MCAT's more tricky too. So like once you start recognizing those patterns, like you start seeing like where they're trying to trick you, and like recognizing how to take the test, and once you like develop that kind of like strategies and like understand how to take it, then eventually it becomes like an SAT kind of. But
those Anki flashcards helped you?
oh yeah, they came in clutch. It was like you don't even know how many times I had to review those every day, like just seeing the same card over and over again, and then just questioning your sanity too when you see the same card the next day, but then you completely forget what it was about. So but it was almost like a 9 to 5 basically for like studying for that test. And then weekends was just the practice test, so I would have to take a full practice test. It was like 7 hours long. So so like my Sundays were shot. I didn't do anything else on Sunday. Just take an exam and then chill the rest of the day, and then you got to review that, and then just study more. So
like in terms like like high school, like you do the SAT, but you also have like grades and you have like extracurricular activities. Is that the same way for like undergrad to get into med school and then med school to get into a certain residency that you want?
Yeah. So here I'll break it down. So undergrad, you can have like the perfect score on the MCAT, and you can have like a 4.0 GPA, but I've actually looked into people who still got rejected with that because they didn't have any clinical experience, they didn't have any volunteering, they didn't have any research, and they didn't have any just community volunteering like on their resume. So you have to be all rounded. You have to do like all these activities, and you should also have the scores and the GPA to back.
Out of the 4 things you just said as like extracurriculars, which do you think are like the strongest and which do you think are like the most important out of the 4 you just said?
So most important definitely is clinical experience. You got to like be in the field because they want to see that you're interested and like learning things inside the medical field. So like for me, that was being an EMT. Like I got to actually like help treat patients like by assessing their vitals. I was in the back of the ambulance, so like helping them. Like you would see like a patient who would be like on the floor like after an injury, so transporting them into, the back of the ambulance. That's the best experience you're gonna get because you're actually getting hands-on experience. Right after that, I would say research is very helpful because it just helps, learn different medical terms and scientific terms as well as the research process. So yeah, I did Alzheimer's disease research, so it was super interesting. And just learning like how the drug we were using actually increased certain like glycoproteins inside the mice who were studying with the mice body, and just helping increase the amount of I forgot what the term is. I'm blanking right now, but there's like this certain thing that grows around a neuron. So in Alzheimer's disease, that degrades, but that the drug we're using actually regenerates that and like makes it like bigger. So just learning those terms and understanding that in the scientific community, I feel like that's also important too.
I have to ask you,
Yeah.
what is your weirdest patient experience that you've had?
Yeah.
Like working with a patient, like the most abnormal thing a patient has done to you.
Yeah, I got you. So obviously I can't tell the name, but like I responded to a scene in nearby town, and there was just a call from, it was actually a 911 call from the neighbor. So the neighbor called saying like there's something going on with my neighbor, right? And so we pulled up, and obviously when we come with the ambulance, there's always a police car that comes with us just in case things go south, right? So we go down back inside the house. There's no one there, and we're like kind of confused, like, all right, where's this neighbor at? And then we start to look around, we go towards the backyard, and then they have like a forest in their backyard, right? So we start to walk inside the forest, and like halfway through we see a blue tarp just on the ground, right? And so we walk up towards the tarp, slowly uncover it. We see a guy there, and he's alive. He's fully breathing. He's good. He's good, but he is conked out, like out of his mind. He's just unconscious, right? There's like beer bottles all around like the area, and so he has no idea where he's at. He thinks he's like on like a different planet, right? So we have to walk up to him, tell him like, sir, you slept here all night. Like the last night you were just outside under this tarp in the forest sleeping. And we had to like kind of like tell him like, you're just drunk out of your mind. And we kind of need to like take you to the hospital because your like mental conscious is just out of it. And he couldn't even say anything. He was just like completely gone. But yeah, that was probably the craziest story. I didn't expect a 911 call to be like that. Like,
That's crazy.
I was expecting something more gruesome, something. But there's just some weird calls that you'll get. Yeah.
Have you ever had it where like the cop actually had to get involved because it was like a dangerous scenario?
I don't think it got ever to that point. Because like most of the cases we had, like even when the patients got like a little like aggressive, they would also not hit us. They would be verbally aggressive. Like
really?
Yeah. They go crazy verbally, but like luckily, no one like made any advances to try and like hit us.
Was it always the old patients?
Not surprisingly, no. Sometimes it's like a mix. It's like old or young. I feel like it just depends on what kind of person you are. So like, even if you're a young person, but you also like have that like retaliation factor in you, then that can hit when.
What are they like? You're there to help them.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I don't understand that. Like you're there to support them. Why the hell would they be like deferring you?
That's a fair point. Because like sometimes they're just not in the mental capacity to like understand that, and like sometimes they're psychiatric patients too. So like they have like some kind of mental illness, and they don't fully understand the situation. Some people we call are like frequent flyers, so like they'll call like every week even though when there's no problem, but they'll see us every week, and they just take advantage of that, and they'll say like, oh, there's no problem, but like we still have to check just in case that one time we go there is like an actual emergency. We still have to respond to those, but they'll just call and they'll know that we still have to come, so then they'll just keep calling us every week.
They're trying to get those frequent flyer membership.
Exactly. The Miles Plus program. Yep.
Frank of the Miles, one free trip,
How-
10 visits.
How often do you
One
get
free
calls,
ride. One free ambulance ride.
how
I got a
often
card.
how often do you get there and someone is actually in like need, but they try to deny like wanting help because of like you know, having to pay for like ambulance fees or whatever stuff like that post?
That's such a good question. I literally had a case like nearby my house, and it was like at a restaurant, and this old woman, she was so sweet, like but her blood pressure was like near, like it was so low. It was like, I don't even know how she was like talking to us. She was like drooping like this while eating her food. But like we spent like half an hour in the ambulance saying like, you need to go to the hospital because your blood pressure is like really, really low, like dangerously low for your age. And she kept saying, no, like, no, I can't go. Like, I'm scared because I'm afraid that I might go into like debt, or like I might not be able to pay for this. I don't know what my doctor is going to think if I take this ambulance. But like eventually we were able to convince her, saying like, I mean, like, we have to like take you, like there's no other option. And she was like, we had to play the card saying like, the paramedic was like saying like, you sound like my mom right now, like you, like I care so much for you right now. So like we had to say that to her, and then finally she was like, all right, I'll go to the hospital.
Wow.
But yeah, that was it was so tough.
Yeah, it's so sad, man. Like, so the worst part about all of this is that like you want to be able to help them, but at the end of the day, it's still a business. It's still an industry. You still have to get paid for this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is. And you can't say it's a bad thing, because like obviously if they don't get paid, no one's gonna do the job, you know.
Yeah. Which is why I have so much respect for EMTs, paramedics. They barely get paid anything. They work these crazy shifts, crazy hours, but they're also like, again, backbone of the healthcare system too.
Just out of the kindness of their heart, they did this stuff.
This is like more so about when you get to a place, when you're working as like a volunteer, when you get to a situation, what's like kind of the steps that you guys take while you're there? Like, what's the first few things that you guys do? Like in like scouts, because I used to be a Boy Scout, like it would always be like, check the area. It would always be like, your first thing, if someone gets like hurt in any situation, first you gotta like make sure the area is fine, that if you go into that area, you're not also gonna end up in the same situation. What was it like for you guys? Like what are like the steps you guys take?
You got the
real quick, sorry to cut you off. Both you guys are Eagle Scouts. I just realized this.
Let's get it.
It's almost like they just said that.
I said Boy Scout. I didn't say Eagle Scout. Distinction.
Final rank.
Final rank. That's important.
So you actually got the first step nailed on the dot. It's like scene safety, because if you go in there and let's say I get injured and my coworker gets injured, that's 3 more patients we have to deal with instead of just 1. So it's always scene safety first. You got to make sure the scene is safe before you enter anything. And that's why, like I said, we always have like a cop car with us for backup, or a police officer, because if things go south, we don't want more patients. We're trying to reduce the amount of patients that we're treating. So scene safety is always a must. And then once you go in, once you establish scene is safe, check the responsiveness of the patient. Obviously, if they're not responding to you, then that could be a problem. Check their pulse. We need to know if they're alive or not. And if there's no pulse, chest compressions immediately, CPR. We gotta get the AED
As
out.
Dr. Mike says, chest compressions.
Yes, exactly.
Is it actually like to the beat of Staying Alive?
It is. Yeah.
That got me through my
Staying alive.
Exactly.
Staying alive. That's what got me through my CPR certification in high school, man.
Yeah. And so chest compressions if they don't have a pulse. If they do have a pulse, but like they're barely breathing, we ventilate them. And then it's just a lot of more like secondary assessment stuff. But that's like the main thing, like airway, breathing, and circulation is what we're mainly looking at for all these emergencies. Yeah.
So before we go on to something else, I want to go back to the application process real quick, and not to get like too political on this though, but you're talking about the things that are important for getting into med school, and obviously recently we had the reversal of affirmative action.
Right.
How big of a deal do you think it is that affirmative action was there in something as serious as med? Because in med, it doesn't matter what race your doctor is. You want the person who is most equipped and most prepared and most eligible by merit to get in and be officially trained to handle you, you know? And so do you think that the affirmative action change, was that already existing in med, or was there no affirmative action for med schools? Do you know?
No, there's not really affirmative action for med schools. It's they don't really have that. It's more of like I couldn't tell you. It's like they do scholarship programs to fund or financial aid, but no, there's no such thing as like affirmative action for med school. Yeah.
See, I think that's absolutely like amazing, because like having scholarship stuff obviously is helpful, and it still benefits like in the same way affirmative action was originally meant to help. Yeah. But without actually putting a bias towards race. Gotcha. You know, with something like med, I feel like it should be completely based off merit. So it's good that they didn't have that there.
I'll have a quick counterpoint to that. So this is actually like a tough topic because obviously you do want a doctor who's like qualified and has the qualifications to treat you, but a problem that we're seeing is sometimes like race is important. Sometimes it's important to see your own race as a doctor as well.
That's true.
Because they have more insight in certain like health problems about their own race, and they can better treat you. So when we see a lot of like, I'm just gonna give an example, African American patients, and they don't see their own, people or own race as doctors, it can be a problem because I've heard like certain things with like hair care products, like they have different hair consistencies and like hairstyles. So like when they come to a doctor who can't at all relate to what they're complaining about, or like their complaint is about, it can get a little tough. And then just like certain things like how they grew up, or like culture and stuff like that, it's tough to like relate to a patient when you've never been through or experienced what they've experienced. So that's why they can be like merit based. You can have the most qualified doctor, but there's also a personal aspect to it. Like you need to be able to be relatable. You need to be able to build a relationship with a patient.
I'd honestly say medicine is actually one of the fields where I think where affirmative action may have the least consequence in terms of, because if you think about it in like something like CS or something like business, or even business is a little bit different, but CS, engineering, that's fully like, it doesn't, diversity of thought matters less so in the fact that like that's only the creative aspect of engineering, but a brute part of engineering is like the actual
technical skill,
the skill aspect. And in that case, yes, like merit is the most important thing. But when you get into professions that are more interpersonal, so like especially social sciences, not just within medicine itself, but maybe in like psychiatry or psychology, in places like that especially, then I think diversity of opinion, diversity of thought might matter more, because you need that like different aspects. So I honestly think that like I again, affirmative action in its core is something that's like super highly debated. So you need to have some balance of like helping people who are in less developed areas, or who need the assistance to get into places of better positions, and then you also want people who have the right merits to get in. So there is a lot of like controversy there, but I think in medicine, honestly, because it's very interpersonal, it's one of the one of the top jobs, like medicine, engineering, business, where you kind of do want that slightly more diverse opinion, I think, in my opinion.
That's a great point. I actually never thought about it that way. See, that's why like affirmative action is like such a complicated issue, because there's so many sides to it, and it applies so differently to so many fields. And that's a great point, that with med, you do want someone you can actually relate to and have a good conversation with, because you need to trust them, you need to know them on a personal level.
Now, let's kind of switch over to some fun stuff, all right? Not that med is not fun, med is super fun. Before we get to our last segment of Famous Five, I kind of wanted to kind of talk about North Brunswick and kind of like the relationship we like, not me and you, or me and you, but like
we're dating.
You guys in a relationship?
Dating?
But, like,
that's so
also,
cute,
like,
guys.
like tennis, right? Number one, because like I know you like, and your cousin, you guys would always.
We're
like,
better than you.
Yeah, well, that's like.
You gonna take that, bro?
Actually, I will. But also like,
no pushback.
No pushback, bro. But also like, you guys are always working hard, all that type of stuff. So like, what's one thing you thought was unique about our community that was like, because like, even though we were in like a bigger community, we had our own little circle, right? So like, we had like block parties were all in our area, right? All that type of stuff. It's like, what's one thing that like you noticed that you kind of took with you in that little like kind of bubble that we had, but also like, what's one thing that you learned and took away from it, and one thing that you wish that you did during your childhood at that time?
So you never realize the like importance of community until like later on. Like a lot of like the people that like come over for like get-togethers and stuff are like literally old neighbors from that same group. So when we were like kids, we didn't really think much of it. We were like, oh yeah, there's someone to play with, let me just play with him. His name's Prem, right? Basketball, soccer, cricket, all that kind of stuff. We played football too. But at the time it was just fun, to find people your age and just like engage and like just not be isolated, because it was just nice to have a good time. We'd be at each other's pujas, I would come to your house, he would come to mine. So just being connected like that, I feel is like very important to like a kid's growth, and also just like a family's growth, because you kind of understand the sense of community and like feeling like you feel like you belong somewhere and like you identify with a bunch of people.
Yeah, we just talked about this last week in a sense. Yeah. Keep
So
going.
so that's definitely important, and I realize that now because like a lot of my friends are from that same community. So that's definitely important. And yeah, what was your other question?
No, but I think
again?
it was just like, what's one thing you wish you could have done then that you didn't do?
One thing I wish I could have done, honestly, no regrets. Like I love that community so much. Like we had so many great memories. We built so many strong ties. We're actively like looking out for each other, and like we're like investing in each other's like goals and stuff. Like we're so happy when either one of us does well, and there's no like bad blood or anything like that. So it's just amazing. Great support. Yeah.
Prem claims to be like the most competitive person in our friend group.
Really?
He actually won most competitive in our
won
year.
most competitive senior year.
Yeah.
Really?
First of all, that was a joke.
No,
I mean,
a win's a win. Win's a win.
So is that the only dub you got?
Oh!
Because you lose all these games, right?
Yo!
It's that seat. It's that seat. It's that seat.
This seat, dude. Something about this seat. Last time we had a guest on, they sat in the same place. It creates beef and tension, dude. I love it.
It's always
I
the
love
Prem,
it.
man.
It's always his Prem
Well, I don't know
too.
what I've done, bro.
No, I'm sorry, bro. I don't mean it. Obviously, I don't mean it. Like,
Oh no, he means it. He means
Yeah,
it.
he's like, wow, that was the only
The only win you've ever had, man. Huh?
every single one.
Nah, he's
most competitive, but least likely to win.
Oh! That's wild.
He
Holy.
just got his high horse.
Oh
He
my
finally beat me at
Basketball, yeah. Oh,
Wow.
well, you gotta beat me again, bro.
Yeah. You know what? Now you're gonna get F on the list before I even heard it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of the list, let's get into it.
Whoa,
Our top-
I'm not trying to get on the list, man.
Oh, I mean, yeah, not that list. The top 5 list for this week. Why don't you get us started?
Oh, are we doing video game characters?
Yeah, I mean, it's all you. It's all your
it's-
decision.
It's our first guest, Famous Five, man.
Yeah, it's the first time a guest has done it.
Oh, nice. All right. So, I don't have my I have to think about it a little bit. But like, yeah, top 5 video game characters.
Yeah, just
All
take
right.
us from 5 up to 1. If
Okay.
possible.
Okay. So number 5. Damn, I'm gonna go Luigi. 'Cause
Oh,
I think he's
ooh.
underrated.
Yes.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
underrated.
And like he's low-key good on as a main on Bros Brawl Super Smash.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was our game, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
right
dude,
on
that
your
was-
head, you Luigi brother now, man. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go 5 Luigi, 4. Damn, I gotta think of more games. Give me a sec. 4, I would do
Take your time.
let me think. What else video games have you guys played?
You can hit
It's up to you,
anything.
man. It's
Yeah,
your
it's
list.
all your
It's
list. All your
Alright,
list.
I actually might just stick to Smash Bros. Then.
Okay.
All right,
It'll be
so
easier.
top 5 Smash characters?
Yeah, top 5 Smash characters. So 4, I'm gonna go Samus, cause I feel like
Yeah.
underrated. Again, and also like the special goes crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, on Brawl.
Yeah,
bro,
on
yeah,
Brawl.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, I'll do Kirby, cause
Yes, let's go. I love Kirby. I love
a lot
Kirby.
of people main Kirby that I know of, and really annoying to play against. Always, I'm not gonna say it, but like
Yeah.
taking the person in.
Yeah.
The slurp. Okay.
That's what you want to do.
Pause.
Wait.
I don't know what you're
Can you
talking
reenact
about.
that for me?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I don't really play Smash, right? So just give me like a good, accurate
Yeah.
description of what he does.
So basically, Kirby sucks in the character inside
I'm
of
having
himself.
trouble like picturing it.
Picturing it?
So like. like that. With the wind and
With
everything.
the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animation.
Yeah.
That just
Oh
made
my
for
God.
such a good clip.
So yeah. And then they get that ability after
Okay.
you suck in the guy.
The-
All right.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Play.
Hard pause.
Play.
Okay, so number 2, I'm gonna go Mr. Game and Watch, cause I feel like
Ooh.
he's, if you really understand how to play with him, you can really like
Yeah.
do well, and I feel like nobody really picks him too. So I'm underrated too, and like also once you main him and like understand how to work with him, you can really like do a lot of good damage. And then number 1, I'm gonna be super biased because I've mained him for a long time. Ike.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was my
Ike.
number 1 too.
Okay.
Because Ike's special also goes crazy if you like use it well, and it's an immediate kill. And like just if you know how to like deal with the different combos with Ike, and just timing is huge with him. So if you're able to like get that down, you're
See, I never liked
chill.
playing the melee characters. They're so strong, but they have such shit recovery.
That's
I just
true.
Can't
Yeah.
stand
That's
it.
true.
And
yeah.
I'm someone who needs a lot of recovery. On
That
my
is
guy,
true.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's a solid list, though. Honestly,
like that, yeah.
I feel like it's very unconventional, especially now with Ultimate. Ultimate kind of
That's
changed a
true.
lot,
Mhm.
bro. But on Brawl, I can't believe if you based off yours for the top 5 Super Smash Bros. Brawl characters. Right?
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't put the most broken Brawl character of all time in there, man. Meta Knight.
I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meta Knight was
Knight's
broken
broken.
as fuck
Yeah.
back in Brawl days, man.
yeah,
Like, he
true.
got patched in Ultimate, but
Yeah.
in Brawl, he was crazy.
Cracked.
Yeah, that's
He's
a
an
great
easy
choice.
one to me. I never used him really, but he was so
Who
broken.
did you main?
I always play Pokemon.
Pikachu?
No. On Ultimate, I always play Lucario or Greninja.
Okay.
I played with Lucario a couple of
Lucario's
times.
good
Lucario's
too.
cool just
Yeah.
because
Wait.
he's my favorite Pokemon. My dog's named after Riolu, which is
Oh,
like
nice.
pre-evolution. And so I just love playing Lucario, and I think he has like a really cool ability because his is like he's weak at the start, but he has his aura ability, which means the more damage you've taken, the
Yeah,
stronger
so-
you are.
Yeah.
Which kind of
Oh,
sucks
whoa,
because
that-
you pretty much have to play a life up the entire time. If you're
Yeah.
one stock down, you kind of got no shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's really cool to play with though.
Does Pikachu have is Pikachu even in Brawl? I don't even remember. He is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Pikachu's
okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think if you didn't put Ike in there, I would have been pissed. Because
Yeah.
number one, every time we played, you always had him. Number
yeah,
two,
I
you
would
put me
always-
onto him. Like, he's my main too. Like,
Yeah.
you put me on because of, yeah. So that's that
Just a
guy.
great character, bro.
I think he's a great guy. One guy, I think
Such a
you
good guy,
missed.
man.
Yeah, such a good guy. I know him personally too. Yeah.
First name
Snake.
is-
Snake.
Ooh, back
Snake.
in Brawl
Oh, I
days,
forgot
Snake
Yeah,
was
Snake
good.
was pretty
Snake
good,
was
yeah.
great.
I
Snake
loved
was
his
good.
glider. I loved his
Yeah,
sniper
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He had one of the best animations for specials. I think.
It was pretty cool
Yeah.
back in the Wii days, man. That crazy animation.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to main Kirby because obviously I think, dude, the thing is I
You
never.
would main Kirby.
Yeah.
Why would I main
I don't
Kirby?
know, you just
Yeah, why would I main
thought-
Kirby?
You
Huh?
tell him why he would.
Tell me why I main Kirby.
Because you love sucking men.
Oh my god, bro. Dude, I think it was like it was a broken character. It was a character that you could play easily without having like a lot of skill in Brawl.
Mm.
I'm sorry, continue.
Easy learning curve.
Yeah, easy learning curve. And when I first started playing Brawl, I was playing with friends who. You just spilled water everywhere. Okay.
Speaking of sucking.
Yeah. So once you suck that water back in, like Kirby, I'll explain why. I used to start playing. I started playing Brawl with like people who were good at Brawl. So Kirby was like an easier learning curve to where I could
Yeah.
kind of level up to like somewhat of their standard, and I kind of just got stuck with it because I never got a lot of experience with any other character.
I don't remember playing against or with Kirby too much on Brawl, but on Ultimate, bro, you remember Nico?
Yeah.
Bro, he was cracked. We had this one friend in high school who would be really good at Kirby on Ultimate because he has this like anvil move where he
Yeah.
just kills you.
Oh,
with
I
the
remember
combo.
that. Oh, that
And it
move
would
is so annoying.
It would be so annoying.
Yeah.
He's in the Army or Navy now, right? Isn't he?
What? I thought he was gonna go professional soccer.
No, different
You're
Nico.
thinking of
Oh, that's so wild.
Different
I
Nico. I
swear
thought.
That's like a way. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's at Berkeley, the music school.
Oh, really? He's doing music?
Yeah, complete
Oh.
polar
Nico's
opposite.
music.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
I mean, yeah, I know he loved
wrong guy. I
music.
was thinking about the wrong guy.
Nico who?
Santos.
Santos. He was in band for a bit. Or no, for all of high school. He was in
I'm
band.
pretty sure he
Yeah.
went into Berkeley.
Santos.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. I don't know, I
Another
thought he went.
another character I forgot to mention was Ness. That was also.
Oh,
like,
DeCola went into. Sorry, DeCola. Sorry, DeCola went into like the Navy. Okay, all right, continue on.
No, you're good, bro.
Yeah.
I was just saying. I just remember Ness. You remember Surya?
Yeah.
He used to
He
main
was at your
Ness.
grad party, bro.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but like back in the days, I'm saying
Yeah.
for Wii. So he would main Ness and PK Power, PK Freeze. That was
Oh.
so
Oh.
annoying to
Yeah,
play
I know,
against.
dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I will gladly say I've never played the game in my
What?
life.
What?
You've never played Smash?
Never. Not Brawl, not Smash.
Wait, what was your 5 and 4 again?
Wait,
Yeah, run through
Luigi.
your
Why don't run
Yeah,
through
run through your
so,
list.
top
Damn,
5
what?
Smash characters. Let's get it right.
Top 5 Super Smash Bros. Brawl
Damn, I
characters.
even
Brawl.
forgot already what I said. All right, let me see. Top 5 was 5 was Luigi, 4 was Samus, 3 was Kirby, 2 was Mr. Game and Watch, and 1 was Ike.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
I think Game and Watch is a little high.
I think Luigi's
Yeah, I think
high
so.
also. Luigi, I love as a character. I wouldn't put him up there in Smash.
I mean, he was put into this list before we got to Smash characters. He originally was just
That's true, but-
as a video game character. I put him at
Luigi is
5.
top tier, man. Mario's so overrated.
Overrated,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Hey.
Luigi got the hype, man.
Yeah.
Luigi has a
Whoa,
complex
whoa, whoa.
story as well.
I mean,
Tell me about his story.
I have no idea.
yeah. I was about to say.
I know it's
Spell
complex.
cap.
I know it's
Wait,
complex.
I'm gonna defend my boy Mario. All right, Mario Kart. I am undefeated in Mario Kart using Mario. I have never lost with Mario.
Okay, I'm
ever
gonna
in
destroy you
my-
right now. Let's play Mario Kart with
Hold on,
Mario.
I
if-
will
what's-
bring my
if you're
Switch.
Who mains who? What do you main for Mario
Mario
Kart?
Kart, Baby Luigi.
Baby Luigi. What about y'all?
I used to play Baby Luigi for a while, but then after a while, I just
It's
Because he's
Mario,
Luigi,
bro.
baby.
The
You think
character-
it's Mario?
It's the wild win with Mario.
I'm doing
you don't
Toad.
lose.
I'm doing Toad.
Toad.
Mine's
Toad's
Baby
good.
Luigi as well.
I'm
Baby
telling you
Luigi.
right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
no one
Why
is
do you-
beating
couldn't think of
Mario
another
with the
character?
wild
you
win.
no,
Straight up.
honestly, I was gonna say
Straight up, no
Donkey
one's
Kong.
beating him.
Mario's
But-
good. Mario's good.
Mario
Mario's
is
good.
the best.
He is
Yeah,
good.
he's
He
very
is good.
balanced too.
He's-
That's
in
the thing, yeah.
The
He's
game's
just
named
good
after
over
him.
him.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Playing baby characters is always like better, in my opinion.
Nah, man.
You get the.
Oh.
Oh god.
You must.
Apparently the list did have it. I'm on the list now.
What's on the list?
I'm definitely on the list.
All right,
now.
sorry, all right. So let's give our rating, starting with Rishi. What would you rate as?
All right. Well, I've never played
Oh,
any of this in my
yeah.
life, so I know Luigi. So I know Kirby. uh,
Yeah, honestly, the rest are pretty like not characters I would even know without playing,
Yeah.
bro.
See, yeah.
I'll give it an 8.7 out of 10.
That's high.
Wow.
That's high.
Pretty good.
It's a high
Okay,
list.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna give it 6.5. I think not
Fair.
having the
Meta
most
Knight,
broken
yeah.
character
Yeah, yeah,
in Brawl
yeah.
Days is a huge miss.
Yeah.
Missing the number 1 spot by that much, I think that's got to take it down. You missed Snake. I think Snake was huge.
Snake
was
is
a good
huge.
one.
Snake.
Yeah,
I
Snake
think
was a good one.
missing 2 big characters there. I think Kirby was pretty good. I do think Luigi should not be on that list for Brawl, but yeah, I think 6.5.
Yeah, I would say I agree on the Luigi part. Luigi being on the list for Brawl was not that great, but it did start off. I can't blame you for putting it there because it did start off as
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
character list, and I would put Luigi at the top of character lists. So, again, honestly, it's the same stuff as him. Missing Snake, missing Meta Knight. I'll go a little higher. I'll give it a 7 because I do like Mr. Game & Watch just because it's an interesting pick, and I think he's a strong character if you know how to play him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd
Damn,
give it
you
a.
guys suck.
I'd
You
give it.
guys are just mean.
I'd give it. Well, you've
Brutal.
never played, bro.
Yeah,
So.
I'm just giving it.
I'd give him a 7.5. Again, same reason as Ari, but one thing that Ari mentioned earlier that he didn't include here was Lucario. I feel like Lucario is a great character.
Lucario didn't have aura in Brawl. I think
he wasn't even a crazy strong character in Brawl.
No,
he was
in
just like
Brawl. He wasn't.
he was just
as
a regular
good. He was
like
just normal, I
yeah.
think.
Oh, really?
I think
Yeah.
so. Because he didn't have his aura power yet.
Wait, who is Ike's like other guy? His brother or
Marth.
something?
Well, not my brother, but
Yeah.
Marth's like
Marth's like
similar.
Marth's the same like.
I forgot about
Universe is
Ganondorf too.
Oh,
And Mr. Falcon?
Was Ganondorf?
Or Falcon
Oh,
Punch.
Mr.
Oh.
Yeah,
Whatever
Falcon.
it is.
Mr.
Was
Falcon, yeah.
Ganondorf good in Brawl Days? I know in Ultimate.
No, he was good.
His
In
his
Brawl, was
his
that good?
his power, like his hits were crazy. Like
That's the thing,
if
he was
you
just a
time
heavy, yeah.
yeah, heavy, but he
heavy,
was
yeah.
slow.
One of my
So
friends
slow.
loves playing Ganondorf. It's so annoying.
And I forgot Fox and Wolf too, or I think
Oh,
it,
yeah,
they were
I mean,
alright.
oh.
But I don't know they were that popular.
They were okay. They were okay.
Wait, who are the twins? In the
Ned-
game.
No, isn't that Ness?
Lucas and Ness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lucas
Oh,
and Ness.
I thought they played like
there
together.
is
No.
someone who plays in pairs.
Yeah,
I
someone
feel
plays in pairs. I forgot who it was though.
Actually, Loki wanna know.
like.
Let's check that out real quick.
That
There's
was
also
OP.
what was his name? Olimar.
Oh yeah.
That's
Who's
what's
on
on
there?
He's from
He has like the helmet, the
What's-
space
what's
helmet,
the
and like a
game he's
bunch
from?
of.
Oh yeah.
I
like-
forget the game he's from, but it's like a random.
I have
Minecraft
the
game.
Brawl
Sonic
characters list pulled
Link,
up.
Toon
Oh,
Link.
Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers. was
Oh,
good.
Ice Climbers. Yeah.
Oh, Ice Climbers is also a good addition to this list. I enjoyed playing
Yeah,
with them.
see?
Oh,
Oh.
you Prem did mention to me before
Captain
this
Falcon.
that you love Zelda.
Yeah.
Did I?
He mentioned to us.
Wait, are you questioning whether you like Zelda or not?
No, because I never remember saying that.
Oh no, I thought you did. Because like you.
No.
Oh.
I don't think you got that right,
This
dog.
is the thing. Prem just doesn't know
Just
anything
random-
about this stuff, and then he brings it up, and he's
out.
like,
Yeah.
I was like,
I know about Smash Bros. I know about Smash.
bro, you said he means Zelda. Like,
Huh?
You
said
said that
he
he
mains
always plays
Zelda.
Zelda, and I was like, do you mean Link? And you're like, no, Zelda.
Oh, Link's another good character. I like
Yeah,
Link.
Yeah.
Damn, I was gonna ask you if you
Don't-
played Tears of the
No,
Kingdom.
no.
but-
Oh no. You know
Straight
why I
up.
said that? You know why I said that?
Why?
Because we always pick the Zelda temple to play with.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a map.
yeah, the
though.
map.
Sorry, that's probably why.
Because
I
that
thought
was just like a
Zelda.
balanced
It's
map
like a
for
good map,
4 players.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a real important question. What color did you select
Why
in
does the
the
color matter?
man? Because I respect all colors. I want to know.
Bro's putting the affirmative action into Smash Bros. We need one of each.
Which color did you pick, man?
Cancelled.
Because I always went with black.
What's funny about that, man?
It was a nice dark, just like it was like it looked clean.
Yeah.
Wait, which
Like
character
your
again?
I used to play Kirby.
Kirby.
Oh,
bro.
Black Kirby.
Black Kirby
You
looks so
wanna see
sick.
that black suck.
No, usually the character that gets
Sorry, bro. What the fuck?
Out of pocket.
Hopefully no one makes it this far into the episode.
Now our retention's at like 0.1.
It's gone.
Our actual retention rate is 0 people at this point, so we're good. We can say whatever we
No,
want.
it's funny because what if there's actually just a spike at this point? There's a spike in retention at this
Someone
point.
just puts this link out on everyone. It's like with this
Yo,
timestamp.
someone clip this right now. I think I would do like gold. Like,
Oh, like the yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would go black most of the time. It depends on the character, cause
Why
like
does
the
color matter?
It
Just
doesn't.
looks
It's just
cool.
like a.
it's just cool.
It's a
It's just
skin.
aesthetics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
aesthetic.
It's a
Yeah.
skin.
It's the same
Makes
as
you feel
gliders
cooler.
in Mario.
Yeah.
Gliders I don't think had any effect, right?
no, some of them did change. Like you see the stats pull up.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
They change.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know
like
that.
it just looks cool. Like on Ultimate, I'll play like Black Greninja a lot just because that's a shiny form in the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think a big thing they missed out on is Pokemon Trainer on this game. The different colors, they sort of change it, but they just change the color of his clothes. But I think they really missed out by not just changing it to the different protagonists because it starts out as
Oh, that
red.
would have been sick. Yeah.
One of the colorways is almost like gold, but not really gold. They should
Yeah.
just made it gold, then Lucas, then like all of them. Yeah,
Oh, wait, I
then
forgot
Brendan.
Seamus.
Who?
He was good.
Who?
SAMUS.
Samus?
Samus?
Samus. He said
I
that.
No, I know, but I forgot like the
What did it look like?
the pertinence of the characters.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people used to play Peach, but I don't.
No, Jigglypuff.
No one played Jigglypuff,
yeah,
bro.
I know
Jigglypuff's
no one.
character? Cool, man. Yeah.
Jigglypuff's a cool character, but no, I don't think I ever
Peach
played
was,
it.
there was a cheat code with Peach, bro.
Yeah, up,
Who?
up,
A
down,
lot
down,
of-
A, B, A,
A
B.
lot of people
Left,
are
right.
cheat codes with Peach.
No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
I don't know. I think you're just
Yeah,
saying
no,
random
No,
BS.
there is a Zelda. Look. You
Yeah, obviously.
We
but
know
you
there's a
don't
Zelda.
Yeah, I never
Oh
played
my
it.
god.
Oh,
All right,
that
all
was a
right.
Play with her, my bad.
Before Previs says any more dumb stuff, do you have any last words to say?
Nah, bro.
Bro's done.
Brave dropped my IQ today. Like,
That's how it normally happens.
yeah.
Oh god.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode with our second guest
In
Um,
person.
in person. Second guest. I mean, this is also just our second guest.
That's not.
Yeah, it is.
Third.
Oh,
I
third.
think it's a third, yeah.
Diluted.
Man, he
Oh,
knows our guests more than you.
Yeah, man, I forgot for a second. That was so long ago.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Fun episode. If you want, drop your YouTube right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
link
yeah,
it at the
every-
bottom.
Link it, yeah. So it's just my name, first name, ABHIE, and then Maharana, MAHARANA. Just type that on YouTube, I should.
All right, perfect.
Very nice.
Thank you guys for watching. See you next week. Peace.
Peace.